I guess we don't have anything to say anymore.
Uh,
That's okay.
well,
I've been reading Nisargadatta every day, as always. I just find it I guess not surprising. It's just well, it's amazing how much you guys are just, you know, everything you say reflects something he says, and everything he says reflects something you say. But the interesting difference is, he was part of this big long Indian tradition, you know, passed down to from guru to pupil, and it just sort of popped in you.
yeah, it's yeah, this as it is, uh, it has no race, it has no culture, uh, it has it's just the way it is, you know. Somebody from China may talk about also the very same thing. Somebody from uh, Australia, it doesn't really matter because this only what is, it knows itself as nothing. Knowing itself is knowing nothing. So really, there's only it. There's nothing outside of it. There's nobody who can speak about it, talk on behalf of it, because it's the only thing that is already in the midst of talking happening. There's just it. There's nobody doing it. So it's, as we would say, there's no escape. You know,
So, what do you make of conflict? You know, conflict arises between people, insidious conflict, conflict with no real reason.
yeah, I would say anything that seems to be happening, it has no purpose or reason behind it. It's just what seems to appear in this. It may seem to go somewhere in the story, but in actual fact, it's never really going anywhere. It's just a story that is never there.
So you don't need to pay any attention to it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. There's nobody even who to do that. It's just what happens. Paying attention to it or never paying attention to it, you know, it's going nowhere. It's just what is. It doesn't
So I
matter.
got these friends in like Tucson, and it's been like 110 degrees, 115 degrees there for days.
Wow.
I don't know what that. I should. I don't know what that is. It's very hot. Let's see. 115 F 46. 46 degrees.
Wow, it's too much.
Yeah, and everything seems to be getting so much worse in a way that, I mean, human problems you can see in the grand scheme of things are going to come and go, right? Societies come and go, empires come and go. I guess even without the world, whatever it is that's here is still going to be here.
Yeah.
It can't really make any difference.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It may seem to matter if this imagines itself to be something or somebody, or somebody's wife, somebody's husband. It may seem to matter, but behind it, there's nobody there. It's just an appearance. It's just an appearance in this. It's never really going anywhere. So the story itself, everything as it is, it's beautiful. It doesn't need to be changed. The world does not need a savior because it really doesn't exist. There's no world already. Well, what seems to be a savior may appear, but it's really saving nothing. There's nobody to save, and there's no savior. It's just everything. That's not to say the story it shouldn't happen. It's bad. It should be avoided. It's not supposed to be like that. Things as they are beautiful. They are okay. There's that sense of okayness with everything, with everyone. Yeah, because everything is an expression of this what is. So everything is okay. Even when it seems as if it's not okay, it's okay. It's part of the story. And the story is this already. So there's nobody to get rid of the story. And there's no story. There's no real story to get rid of. It's just this appearing in the story. So this as it is, it's already wordless. It's already here. It's not trying to be something. It's not trying to achieve any goal. It has no expectations. It has no desire. Because it's already everything. It desires nothing because it's the only thing that is. How can a desire arise? So there is so much beauty as well when it seems to appear as an individual who's living life. There's also beauty there because it's expressing as that, playing a game of forgetting and remembering. The person or the separate self that seems to be there, it's never really there. So it may say, oh, I want to be enlightened. But who is there to be enlightened, really? That which wants enlightenment, is it there? That which is looking for a, a bliss transformation, is it really there? Can that one be found? If it can be found, by whom? So somehow, when it is seen or recognized, then the desire may seem to collapse, because really, the one who has been searching, going up and down, uh, going inside the mountains, doing some meditations, when it is recognized that that one never existed, this somehow sees itself that it has never been a person. It has never been that little one.
I forget
It
and
was,
remember on a daily basis, sometimes on a minute by minute basis. Just be looking at the trees and the state of bliss. You know, my house, it's
yeah,
vacillating. It's almost you could probably set your watch to it if you.
yeah, yeah. This in its expression as a separate self, it may seem to be holding on to its appearance. It may seem to be holding on to the knowledge of itself as a separate person. Like, for instance, the knowledge of being born, being a man uh, who's married, who has a business. But really, when you look, when there's looking happening, it is seen that there's just emptiness. Everything is empty. There's nobody there. Even in the midst of something that seems to talk, there's just nobody doing it. It's just what's happening. It's like when there's an imagination that today is Tuesday. When that is not, when there's not looking, and it may seem that it's a real Tuesday. It can also be felt, oh, today is Tuesday. But where is Tuesday? Where is Tuesday? Where are you? That seeing there, is it somebody behind those eyes? Is it a man or a woman? usually there's just looking, happening, and objects may seem to appear and the labels may seem to be imagined. So I'm looking at the screen. This is me, I'm looking at the screen. But who is that? Who is really that? That which says, this is me, I'm looking at the screen. Can that be found? Or is it just saying, but there's nobody there?
So this is just seeing. This is just being carried away with thoughts. This is just thoughts happening. This is just you forgetting that you're not your thoughts. Yeah, there's forgetting that you're not your thoughts. It's like energy being caught in an invisible trap. It's still energy in
Well,
an invisible trap.
if the trap isn't invisible,
Yes.
then it's the trap. There's nothing there.
Have you heard their story? I don't know if this is true or not, but in America, folk legend, we don't have any elephants in America that aren't in zoos. So this could be ridiculous. I don't know if you have them in South Africa, but um, story is that if you uh, tie a rope around an elephant's a leg and put it in a stake in the ground, you know, the elephant will go and figure out where it can walk to. And then eventually you just take the stake out of the ground and the elephant won't go any farther than it thinks it can go because of the rope that I don't know if that's true or not. But people use that
Never
as a
heard
little fable about conditioning, but it's a nice metaphor for the invisible trap.
of it. Yeah, yeah. Imaginary trap.
Yeah.
Even the one who may seem to be trapped is just never there. So there's nobody to be trapped, and there's no trap. There's nobody outside of this who's trying to get inside. And there's no outsiders, there's no inside. It's just everything. All these are just imaginary. And that body doesn't say I'm a man or a woman. It doesn't know anything. And the body doesn't know the separate self. So even the separate self cannot do anything because it's just never there. And it has never done anything. It has never said anything. And it's not going anywhere. There's nothing separate from this. There's just this. And this isn't a thing that can be pointed to. Can never be known, can never be understood. It's the only thing that is. It's not even a thing. It's just, it's wordless. It's like a cat that is trying to get hold of its tail. No, it can never do it. It can keep on swinging around until it recognizes that it's
Mr.
it's
Gadada
already.
would say, Mr. Gadada would say that the purpose of sadhana, which they call, there's a word for, Indian meditation and self-investigation, is to exhaust all efforts to be enlightened. And the reason that the Indian, yoga and everything is so strenuous is to get you to that point faster. Point that when you absolutely give up is when, it actually could happen.
Yeah.
When the cat realizes that it can't catch its tail.
Yeah, it's just to get to the end of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the one who may seem to be looking for enlightenment never gets it, can never find it. When it seems that it's about to find it, it disappears. And then it's recognized that it was never there. So it's even seen that it's never disappeared. Because how can that which is never there disappear? Yeah, so everything is okay.
When I was growing up, I was as a little kid, it was in the 70s, 1970s, which were right after the hippie era. So people were, I don't know, trying to think outside the box or something. And they used to tell us as kids, you'd hear it all the time. That's just a label. Like that true, a bird, that's just a label, you know. And they had applied to people and class or race or degree of education, poverty. And it was a really powerful way to think beyond the process of inculturation that was happening.
Yeah.
But when you get down to it, that's exactly what you're saying, right? Everything is just a label. The word that the world that we infer is just made of labels. It's actually here is just here. Even you are just a label.
Yes. Yes. You can never even find yourself because you're just never there. So all the worries about what's going on in the world may seem to collapse when it is recognized that there's just nobody there. So when it's seen that there's nobody there, then it will be seen that there are no others as well. So that there's just everything is empty. So somehow everything, um, the beauty of everything is seen. That's even the speck of dust, you know, is beautiful because there is no imaginary or there is no imagination that it's something, there's something behind it that doesn't arise anymore. So there's so much beauty, even that which seemed to be not beautiful, it is seen as just beautiful. Then it's when things are seen as they are. So you see the world as you imagine yourself to be. If there's an imagination that I'm this person, I'm separate, then you see wars, frustration, anger. You see the world.
You see the world as you imagine yourself to be.
Yeah.
Can you say more about that?
If they seem to be, if there's so much belief that I'm this person, I'm separate, then there will be fear. Fear is a result of that. Um, that I don't want to lose this body. You know, there will be fear that I don't want to lose. These are my family. I don't want to my family member. I don't want to lose them. You know, I want to live a good life. I don't want to lose my job. So, but when that's imaginary or that's imagine that's is not believed in being separate, as being a separate person, being a human being, when that belief doesn't arise, when things are seen as they are, then it is seen that everything is just one. You know, there's no separation. There's just what is totality appearing as everything. So it's seen that there's nobody to lose life. There's nobody to die. There's nobody to lose anything. It's just everything. So there's so much beauty in everything. Everything is beautiful. Even those that seem to have passed on, it's seen that they are always there. They never, they're never gone. So there's no difference between the dead and the living. It is seen that you can never lose anything because you are everything. You are everything. So you cannot lose everything. There's nobody to do it.
Yeah. Unless it just brought me some tea. I didn't even
Nice.
ask. That's nice.
Beautiful.
So there's doing, there's thinking, and there's being. Doing and thinking, your thinking is not anything anyway.
Yeah, they'll be thinking, they'll be doing, but there is no thinker and there's no doer.
Right. Right. So the doing kind of happens by itself. The thinking, it definitely influences the doing. And the being influences the thinking, which influences the doing. Even though there's no doer. And the beer is
Yeah.
all. So there's still an equation for success in here. But who is it that succeeds?
Yeah,
And what difference does it make? Doesn't make any difference.
doesn't make any difference. But when it seems that it's gonna make any there's some difference, then as well it is okay to move in from
Yeah.
that. You know, it's okay. It's not to say no, shouldn't. There's no you shouldn't do anything. Things may still happen. May talk as this conversation is going on. It doesn't mean that there's somebody there, there's somebody here. It's just what happens. Even though there may be thoughts, you know, that may seem to arise. Oh, I'm doing, you know, it doesn't matter. There is nobody even behind that, behind those thoughts. So it's just what's happening. There's no purpose. There will be no end. There's no end because there's no beginning. This is beginless and endless.
Pretty sure that even in the face of it, time and space are not how we experience them. I mean, it's impossible to conceive of uh, infinite space, and it's impossible to conceive of an end to space or a beginning of time or an end of time or timelessness. But we know that time and space are woven together. And scientists, when they try to do fancy math and they take time and space out of the equation, seems to explain a lot of math that they couldn't explain before.
Yeah.
And they can't figure out why time doesn't go in both directions. And they think, well, maybe it actually does go in both directions. And the microscopic level, time seems to go in both directions. Small, very small things seem to hop back in time just a little bit. It's not as it appears to be.
Yeah. But really, where is time? Where is time right now?
Right. But this lamp in front of me wasn't here a year ago, and it's not going to be here 100 years from now. You know, on some level, it works. The conception of it. But what is it?
It was never even there in the first place. That's just a label.
It's just a label. You got a new favorite expression. Yeah. Everything is imagination.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, matter must have imagination of its own. Matter and imagination must be intrinsically woven. You know, all of it. We think that the thinking comes from this brain, and this brain is unique. And maybe brains of other animals are okay, right? But you can see from, the evolution of everything and trees and plants, everything seems to have awareness, and awareness seems to have intrinsically be creative. You know, everything seems to be creating on every scale, you know, from what you can't see to the galaxies.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's
It's
all.
just, yeah,
That's all me. That's us.
yeah, yeah. It's just everything dancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. All expressions are beautiful. Even this, when it expresses as a separate self and sees good and bad, that's also beautiful. So this as it is is already deadless. It's already deadless. There's not death. Even though there may be in its own expression, in its expression as a separate self, that may seem to be there, to be imagined, but it's just never there. So when it is recognized that the separate self is just, it was never there, then what is dead? Who is to die? So I may say um, the separate self is already dead in a sense that it doesn't exist.
There's a difference in the paradigm, I think, that I really enjoy with you. Ironically, it was it was the thing that we complained about most with you. No bridge. You talk about Buddhism and you talk about Indian religions or Taoism, or it's all this Christianity. It's all heaven is over there, you know, enlightenment is over there, and you got to do all this stuff. And as long as you give somebody time, they'll take all the time in the world.
Yeah.
But what you said right away is no, it's already here. You're already enlightened.
Yes.
You're just not seeing it. So then it becomes a process of looking and noticing rather than achieving.
Yeah.
You know. And I think that Buddha said something anyway, you know, right after he realized or whatever to that effect, but everybody forgets. I can't remember what he said. He probably didn't say it anyway. Somebody probably wrote it 50 years later, but whatever.
Yeah. When the imagination is believed in, then they may seem to that's what seems to be a separate self may seem to go out into the world, trying to save the world, talking to people, or trying to help. But there may be a difference when it is recognized that there's just everything, there's nobody to do anything, there's nobody to save. So in this, there's just unconditional love that seems to extend to everything and everyone.
Yeah.
Rather than going out there trying to save the world. because this, as it is, knows itself as everything. So it's not trying to save it. How can it save itself? From what?
From excruciating heat. I don't know if that's going to work, but
Yeah, it's already everything. So when
yeah.
the body collapses, it doesn't really matter. It's still itself. It's in everything as everything. It's not a man or a woman. It's not a human being. It's not trying to go anywhere because there's nowhere to get to. There's no journey. It's still the way it is, even though it may be in a dream of being a separate self who's going somewhere, driving a car. Now I'm going to New York, I'm going to Florida, but it's never really going anywhere. It's still, it's just there as nobody, as nothing, which is everything. So this is alone as everything. You are alone as everything.
So if I'm alone as everything and you're alone as everything, how come you're over there and I'm over here?
So when I say you, I don't mean I don't mean that the separate
I'm
somebody.
teasing you. I'm teasing you. My point is, there's still the world of appearances. Hard to escape.
Yes.
Hard to escape.
Yeah, it's very well. I would say stop imagining and just be.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that very powerful. I've got these beads. I made myself a new string of beads.
Wow, very nice.
And you can't really see them in that light, but they're like this nice kind of dark red and white swirls, about the same color as my shirt.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
and sometimes I say the mantra that came to me from the angel. Be still and know that I am God. Sometimes I say, who am I? Look for the I. And sometimes I say, stop imagining and just be. You know, they're all very powerful. But sometimes I'll just switch mid beat, midstream. There's beats to count prayers, but I just, sometimes I go around 2 times or 1.5 times or like no times. It just, I just like to fiddle with the beads when I do it. It's just a label, right?
Yeah, it's okay. It's beautiful. If it's love and accepted and it's enjoyed, and then it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay. And do it as much as you like.
You
can,
you went out there. You have got to say that again.
do anything like meditate.
You're completely choppy.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, try again.
Yeah, you can do it as much as you like. You can meditate, you can, explore things, consciousness or whatever. It's okay. It's okay. Because there's nobody there who's outside of this who can do that. There's just this appearing as that. So it's okay. It's okay. There's no wrong or right here.
Yeah.
So in a way, this sees itself as everything. So when you are doing the bits thing,
Mhm.
it's doing it exactly. It's not like literally you as separate. No, it's just, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm trying to say. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When the question arises, an answer being given, opinions, it's the totality expressing it's that. So nothing matters to this because everything is this.
I think that's the hardest part of this for people. And I think that's the part that the masters traditionally have held back is the absolute moral relativism. There's no wrong or right here.
Mm.
That's hard. That's hard because we define our souls, we define our illusory selves, our label boxes, our invisible traps by our ideas of wrong and right. How can there be no wrong? How can there be no right? That's it's like the last thread. Oh,
Yeah, just uh, let go and just be. I know something may seem to be holding on, trying to keep, just
I spent my whole day on the phone, well, in different Zoom calls, deciding what to do for people, telling them what to do, exploring what to do, all these problems, projects over here, projects over there, trips to London all day. Reinforcing this invisible box. and almost every day until I'm exhausted, reinforcing the visible box. So that's not going to stop. But
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can see it. I can see it as an invisible box. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a play. It's beautiful. It's a play.
Yeah. And there's no wrong, right?
Yeah. There's no right. There's just what is. It's a simulation. It's a movie. Like in the scene in the church building, there's a preacher. There are those who are in the choir, and there are those who are listening to the preacher. The preacher and the choir, and those who are listening, they're just one. It's just there's nobody who's listening, there's nobody who's preaching, there's no choir or singing. There's just everything. I don't know. It's not a perfect example, but
It's a perfect example. It's a perfect example.
so it's seen that this is only ever talking to itself.
Do you know the expression preaching to the choir?
No.
In America, we have this expression preaching to the choir. And, in that equation that you just laid out, it means trying to convince people that are already convinced instead of convincing the people that need convincing.
Yeah.
If they're in the choir, then they've got the message.
Yeah. Yeah. Understand it.
I missed our talk last week. This was really good this week. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So if you don't have a chance to ask tomorrow, you can just if you just email Michael, he might know somebody that could help.
Yeah, I will talk to him. Even in this afternoon, I'll try to talk to him and find out if he knows somebody who can help.
Yeah, it's just I think it's probably diagnosing a software problem rather than a hardware problem. I think the software is telling the hardware to go crazy, like in people,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So is it warm there or it's cold?
It's been about 90 again. I don't know, about 38, 38, 37.
Mm.
Here we go. Sorry, I got a converter right here. It's been 85 or 90. It's been about 30. So not ridiculous, you know, not ridiculously hot, but hot. It's okay. I don't mind it. It's very humid. This area is very humid, so it's very wet, you know. So I like that. Breathing in the hot air that's wet. That agrees with me in the forest. Yeah. But some areas in the country are just, it's been really hot. So I mean, it's been hot like people dying hot. So a lot of, a lot of concern lately. And cold there.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold, especially in the morning and as well in the evening. It's very cold. But during the day, in the afternoon, it's hot. It's very hot.
I mean, you guys have got heat, right?
You mean
You've got
heat?
internal heat to the house, right? I mean, you have a furnace or
No,
something?
no, no.
No. Just get under the blankets, huh?
Yeah,
So it can't get too cold.
yeah. It's not too cold. It's not too
It's like
cold.
40, 50. How cold does it get in Celsius?
It's maybe uh 10, 10, 9,
Oh,
8,
okay.
around there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty cold, but you'll still be okay without heat.
yeah, yeah. Still
Yeah.
good.
Let's get under the blankets.
Mm.
So so you're gonna get, so you have a hat and everything for when you walk into the bus stop, and then I guess you got a
Yeah,
sweatshirt.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna put on the this hoodie, my jacket on.
When you first joined the calls with Michael, he used to have that up. And you dial in and you would never smile. We were like, man, this guy's serious as a motherfucker.
He's a badass.
This is one badass enlightened dude.
Very fun.
It contributed to the effect for sure.
I never realized this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's serious stuff. It deserves some heft.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'll talk to you next week.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
Problem.
thank
Have
you,
a good one.
Nkosi. You too.
Always welcome.